All right, mic check 1 2 1 2. I think we here, man. Welcome to the EX3 Network Studio, our very first ever podcast. This has been a long time in the making, without a shadow of a doubt. I've been here once before, thanks to the man behind the scenes, Icy Benjamin. Y'all can't see him right now, but y'all see him on his own podcast in a little bit. So we got some of our soul tribe in the building, man. The name of this show is 239 Spiritual Awakening. Because Icy said we couldn't just have spiritual awakening because there's a million other. So we catered it to the hometown, to the crib, Fort Myers, that 239 Spiritual Awakening. What this show is dedicated to and for is for people like ourselves that's going through a spiritual awakening right now and really don't know what it is, but is having an experience and are looking for answers. And we're here to explain our own personal experience. And I think that's part of our mission statement and our purpose as human beings is to spread the knowledge and the experiences to others. So, and I've got some OGs here with me today, and I've got some newbies here today. I'm a newbie myself. I've only been on the spiritual journey for 10 months, since September 22nd of last year. So 11 months. I'm not even a year into my journey. I'm gonna speak last on my experience because I got a gut feeling my experience is probably different than all of our guests today's experiences. So what the show is about is just basically everybody's gonna tell their experience. We got real people in a real atmosphere just sitting here chopping it up about spirituality. It's not nothing fake. It's not nothing crazy. It's just stuff that connects all of us, and some of us are into. And it's only fitting that the first podcast be called Synchronicities, because synchronicity is literally the first thing I experienced personally on my journey. And I think it, for most people who are spiritually awake, generally I think synchronicities are the first thing that happens. And for those who don't know what synchronicities is, it's basically repeating numbers. When you start seeing 222, 333, the most popular being 1111. So to break it down for the average person who comes across this video, wherever, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, when you start seeing these numbers, it's the universe, God, Yahweh, Jehovah, Allah, whatever you want to call your higher being, is that entity trying to wake you the fuck up. Just like the movie The Matrix, when Neo was literally sitting there like, and Morpheus is like, wake the fuck up, motherfucker. Like, the glitches in the Matrix, and that's what it is. That's just what, and you can't have a podcast talking about synchronicity and not bring up angel numbers and numerology, because all three are basically, to me, the same thing. They all kind of go hand in hand. So we're going to get it in right now. I'm going to talk last because I've done the most talking introducing the show. Welcome to 239 Podcast, first ever. It's finally here. It's finally here. We got a lot of energy. The energy is very thick in this room right now.
I think we're all excited to be here.
Yeah, we here, man. Sure. I think Southwest Florida and the world in general needs this. It's a global shift right now going on as we enter the season of Aquarius. Icy's laughing, but we're going to talk about him later on. We're going to talk about him. And P. Diddy back there with the master plan, but we're going to have him seeing. He probably done have some synchronicities, but we might get him on camera in a minute.
I got one. We had one incident that I'm dying to hear about that one. So
yeah, we just had one in the parking lot. All right, so I'm gonna stop talking for the sake of time. So who wants to jump in first? It's either Jennifer or Yona. You want to hop in?
Yeah.
I'm going to let y'all introduce yourself because I don't want to put labels and titles on nobody. So I'm going to just call you Yona because that's your name, so you can do the rest from here.
Hey, y'all, thank you for joining us on this very, very special day. Like Jay Green said, the generation and our time and generations before and last is upon us, and the energy is super thick in here, and it's about to be very, very exciting. Thank you for tuning in, and we're gonna enjoy each other, and share, and it's gonna be fabulous, guys. I'm so glad to be here and being at the start of Jay Green's spiritual journey was a special moment. I was there at the beginning.
You were.
know?
You were. Colin was there at the beginning too.
You know, and you know, it was so beautiful, and it was how nature, you know, the coolest, simplest, one of the most beautiful life experiences, a butterfly, brought us together.
Yes.
And we were having these synchronicities about looking at butterflies and having them come to us on our like everyday going outside. You're gonna cross some butterflies, you know. And so for like a couple of months, I'm checking Jay Green out on his post, and I'm liking him. And I'm like, what is going on with this guy? You know?
I bet all my Facebook friends were probably like, what the hell is going on with this guy? He's taking
Right.
pictures with butterflies. Is this dude lost his fucking mind or something?
Right.
Like, no, it's weird when you have a butterfly fly on you. Like, we all see butterflies, but we don't think about it. But then, like, when one flies on you, like, I had one, first I noticed them fly past me, and then one flew on me the same day, like, within an hour. And that's when I was like, okay, something's trying to get my attention to pay attention.
For sure.
So, and that all happened at the same time, the synchronicities. But I'm going to tell my synchronicity story last.
Okay.
You got to tell me, one question I got for
Okay.
everybody today is, do you remember the exact date you started noticing synchronicities? That was a long time ago.
Yeah. You know what?
Wow.
I didn't. I wasn't 10 years old yet. I can say that. I can't remember the
remember
exact
the
date, but I
age,
wasn't.
yeah.
I wasn't 10 years old when I started to really understand. I'm like, wait a minute, that's lining up a little bit too often in life, and then it caught me quick, you know. But
But you were 10 years old or older.
yeah, I want to say like good and healthy. I was peeping synchronicities by 10.
So you've been on it
solid.
for like 20 plus years, 25 plus years, easy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know,
You're trying not to
hey,
give me tell his age. You can pick up on that energy.
you
All right, so at least 15 years.
Yeah, you know, I can say this honestly, that people around me, my family, my parents, my brothers, my uncle, you know, noticed that I was picking up on things when I didn't really even know what was happening.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I want to say around, 10, 11, like I definitely had a firm grip on, damn, well, like not everybody picks up on this shit. You
Right,
know what I
right.
mean? Not everybody feels it.
I think
you know?
everybody kind of has that experiences, if somebody else will introduce it like, man, you look, that's happening a lot to you. Like, what is that? And then it starts getting you
Right.
questioning shit, and you're like,
Am I crazy?
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yeah, you're on to something. Wait a minute.
Right.
Nah, I'm gonna chill here, and I'm gonna do my thing, and then it'll start coming and coming and coming,
Right,
and
right.
So we want to roll around the table a little bit. We're going to come back. The first question I want to ask to everybody, all the guests, is like, if you can remember the exact day or age you started noticing. Because I'm the newest. I think Colin might be the newest. We'll get into that in a second. So who's up next? JC, you going to hop on, or you want Fame to hop on? Because once Jennifer gets going, ain't no stopping it. Ain't no stopping. She a Libra, so the scales is
Listen,
about.
I'm a
You already
Sicilian
know
Libra,
she gonna.
so there ain't no shutting me up.
Yeah.
I could tell a quick experience, and then,
All right.
I mean, I started seeing numbers a lot together recently, but, as I was saying earlier, with Lincoln, with Chris, and all of our connections and all the things that I've been through the past few years, it's like everything's starting to click a lot more now with the numbers and the synchronicity, and, as I was telling you guys earlier, with, Chris passed recently, and while he was in the hospital, he was texting me about his elders, and that's when I really confirmed to me that, I've always kind of thought about the spiritual world being real, but that really confirmed it to me, because, this is only my second major loss in my life, so now I feel like more connected. But since then, it's been like I've been seeing all these signs and having the connections with the numbers. And
Do you
all
remember
of
the
us.
first date? You don't remember the first
I don't.
after Chris passed?
After that, yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, he's talking about Chris, a.k.a. Chinaman from Two Live Crew, who was his mentor and who signed him right before he passed away. So I don't want to tell the whole story because it's your story. It's just kind of for the average person who tuning in watching right now.
Well, no, I mean, like, even the experiences we had earlier, like, we just met, and she basically was speaking to me what Chris told me, so that even confirmed it to me more, and them seeing my energies, and this is even awakening me more, this podcast and us all being together, and I could feel the energy flowing, I feel it.
And that's how it happens. I mean, that is exactly you draw in people, and then they start noticing things about you, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, that's I feel that, or he told me that. So, and that's exactly how everything starts, is just a conversation, and that's all we're trying to do.
So
here
you
is
telling
we're
me,
trying to
so for people who tuning in, just before we came and started the podcast, you read his energy and his vibe, and you picked up that Chinaman is with us right now.
facts.
So Chinaman is in the
What's
building
up?
right now.
There you go. China.
2 Live Crew.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
This was destined to be, man. This is about to get deep and interesting real quick, man. JC, do you remember the exact date, Fame?
I don't remember the exact
Been
date,
like
but
a
it was
year,
it's
2
been like a
years?
year or 2 years since I've been having an
Okay,
experience.
so I'm the
with
newest.
it.
I'm the newbie to the spiritual awakening. All of y'all been on the journey longer than me. That's good, but I'm the one who put this together. That's the funny thing. The baby. But I'm an Aries, so I'm the baby anyway. That's how it is. I'm the Aries. I'm the baby of the zodiac anyway.
Well,
So
Listen, we want to thank you for bringing us all together.
all right. So
Yeah.
once you let her in, ain't no coming back, JC. So I'm just
Come on,
saying,
tell your story.
get it. Pass her the microphone. I don't know if that mic's on.
Is this-
We talking about, mention, but really we want to keep the topic on synchronicities, meaning like the repetitive numbers when you first started noticing those. Then you could go deeper. Take off,
It'll be here.
Do you remember that's my other question. Does anybody here remember the first numbers that you started noticing?
Yo,
Like
yeah,
repetitive?
for
Yes.
sure.
Well, how come you didn't say nothing?
Well,
1111 was
I
it
got
for you?
two.
mine was 777.
777?
Like 222 and 444.
222 444. Mine was 911 and 1111.
Oh, did anybody mention this?
But my experience was different. I'm gonna tell it last. But yours was 77. It's rare that you see 777.
It
I've
is.
only seen
It is.
777 once,
It
and I
is.
keep the receipt of it in my phone too.
And I'll tell you why, because 777 is the actual, it's the number. So when you see that number, that's when you need to pay attention, because that message is coming through for you. And it doesn't happen very often, because not too many people are paying attention to it. It does happen a lot, but not too many people know, and not too many people pay attention to it. So when it does, and you see that, tune into whatever is going on around you, because there's
Yeah.
Giving you
something.
a
I got it
Right.
once. I'm trying to remember if it was at a gas station receipt. I got 888 once too. The 888 was from a Subway. And I screenshot and I keep the dates and times all this shit happens to me. 888 came. I stopped in Michigan and got some gas at a Subway, and it was 888, and that was like in June of this year. This was like 2 months ago.
You know, let me.
888 is
Look.
hard to get. I've only had it once. It's like the black butterfly. Like I've only seen the black butterfly like 3 times. It's just certain.
See, I get
But we
it.
ain't talking
I
about the
know.
butterflies today. Let's keep it on this. That's a whole nother podcast. So
Look, the first time that I saw 777 of all places, right? I was raised and brought up in the church.
right, same
know?
here.
So, up on the pulpit, they have, the thing, with the...
In
you
the
know,
church, they had
it-
777.
Listen, I'm going to show you. It
All
was just on, like, the minutes that they would keep, like attendance and
yeah,
this and this
yep.
and this, and it's like a string of numbers. I forget exactly what everything was.
Right, right.
And at our church, I saw 777, and then I saw 77. So I saw a total of 5 sevens, right? And then, like some Sundays, like, damn, we had night service, and we had to go to somebody else's church, like all the way over in Detroit, or like somewhere way the far away.
Oh.
So
The ohm just went off.
The chime,
Wow.
the chime just
All right,
went off.
explain to everybody that's tuning in.
Wow.
For those who don't know, explain when the chime goes
Wow.
off what that means.
Okay, so this on my phone, it is an app that you can actually get. It's called the Mind Bell, and you can download it. I don't know what I did, but about 5 years ago when I first started doing my Reiki energy, I infused that app to tell me in readings, just to have that extra oomph that I'm telling the truth, that something is confirmed, to ring whenever I need confirmation, whenever I need like somebody to be like, pay attention.
Y'all, listen.
I
the
swear
energy
it just
is getting
rang.
thick
It just
in here
rang,
tonight,
people.
y'all.
Come on now. It
That just
just
means
rang.
he's telling the
Hey.
truth. He is
There you
telling
Yo,
the truth.
The
you
energy
go.
is getting thick.
There you go.
know?
I'm telling you. And am I
Alright.
like when you do numerology? He said 777 and 5 sevens. Isn't that something too? Like there you
Whoa.
go. See.
So,
I add everything up.
Yup.
I don't always get 777, but a lot of things add up. to
Exactly.
7. My first and last name are 711.
Well, that's
Yep.
so we could kind of segue into that. What Roxanne was just saying, like when we learn out what's called our life path number,
Exactly.
and what our destiny number is. For those who don't know, if you want to find out what your life path is, add up your birthday.
Right.
Mine is 11. It's 3 8. 3 plus 8 is 11. So I'm a master number. There's master numbers, which is 11, 22, and 33.
If you
Right.
add up your whole birthday, you'll find out your power number, though.
Well, it's master number, the same
Okay,
thing.
okay.
Yeah, I'm an 11. I'm a life path master number 11. So like, basically, it's facts. Like we're esoteric people who
Right.
don't take what people say, on the surface. We dive deeper and go
Exactly.
into
Yeah.
what else is out in the world. It can't just be, which explains why most of us in this room all turned away from the traditional church
Yes.
type, because there was answers that
Yup.
the preachers couldn't
I
give
even-
us because we knew that there was more than
I
what was
even
being taught.
I was the director of religious education at my church that was Unitarian Universalism, and it was all faith. And I still got turned away because I was still questioning my life path. My life number is 8, so it's infinity.
Oh,
So,
you got the
like, I
Does
need
everybody
to-
in
I
here
need
know
to
they didn't?
know.
Everybody,
I don't know my
you don't
life.
know your master number? So
Nope.
add it up in your head. Your birthday, just add the digits. Like, cause I know you're a Cancer, right?
Yeah.
So your birthday's 7?
16.
So you gotta add it up in your head. We'll work on that.
Listen, I had
All
to
right.
use pen and paper. Don't worry. I'm like,
Let JC get on the mic. That other mic's on.
Yeah, that was.
All right, get on there, girl. Don't be scared. Speak your truth.
What's
Speak
up,
your
JC?
truth. JC,
JC.
you're a life past 7.
Oh, okay.
Taurus.
Yes. So you get shit done.
I
You-
do.
She got that serious look on her face off rip right now. You remember the first time you ever saw synchronicity?
In high school, I saw 111 and 1111 all the time.
It seems 1111 seems to be the most popular one.
Isn't
Yeah.
that the heaven?
That's-
wish
That's
number?
like the portal, like the awakening code, I think is what they say, 1111.
It's got
It's like,
the easiest vibration, so it's the easiest way that they can contact you.
Yeah.
So 111 is when you see it and when you look at it, I don't know, it calms me. Like it's not so abrasive as like you're going, whoa, it's 7, what is it? Yep. So 111 is more, you're noticing it a lot more. So that they're kind of like, okay, she's noticing it. We can show
So
her
what
a little
does
bit more.
what does I get a lot of like 808, and I know like that's the area code Hawaii, but I'm like used to seeing it and dialing home and stuff. But like I play this game called Golf Crush, and like I love it. Like that's my only like vice on my phone. is this
everybody
golf
got
game.
everybody got
Okay.
their vices on
Okay.
cell phone.
Like I always see 808. And I'm like, what is that? And I've been seeing it like a lot for like the past like 2 weeks.
So
and it's
8 is
If
the,
you add it, it's 16, and 1 plus 6 is 7.
so there you go.
And we know 7 is God's favorite number, right?
Right,
7 is
right.
the number 7. I
Right.
think is mentioned in the Bible more than any other number.
Right,
If I'm not,
right.
we got
7
yeah.
and 7, right?
7 is also
So-
what else is 7? It's the number of completion too, isn't it?
Exactly. And the
This-
number of days it took to create, it's creation as well.
Right.
So
Yeah. So 7 is a powerful
so
number.
number 8 is the number of infinity, right? And so
Okay.
you have a 0 in the middle. So the circle of life, 808 is infinity. The circle of life is infinity. So life goes on and on and on and on and on. And that's how you think. That's how you're always thirsting for knowledge. You're always pulling it in.
My mom always used to say, "An idle mind is a devil's workshop."
There you go.
You know,
An idle mind is the devil's workshop.
Yes,
Interesting.
yes. And so, you get to a point to where it's like you start bathing in this like journey of spirituality and connecting to other people. other
We're all
like-minded
connected,
people.
man.
And it's like you really start to find out like how deep this rabbit hole goes. And, like, like perfect way to describe it. It's like you look at an ant farm. When we were kids, you could play with the ants. You could see them, carve out in the sand. And so you start to get into this web, and some people are at different depths.
Yeah.
Other people are just beginning,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
like, but you see, like
Yeah.
everybody's like working together in the same space and occupying the same space,
Right.
you know? And all of those ants in there, guess what? They all have like a signal. They're all like wired in
Right.
and in tune to
Right.
each other.
Right.
And so like that's what I'm feeling like the Soul Tribe is. You know
This
what I
is
mean?
Soul
Yeah.
Tribe. It's
So,
getting bigger.
You know,
Soul
yeah, we're in the
Tribe.
little
We all
home kit
connected.
now.
Yeah.
Look.
Now
the
we got
knowledge
to now we
about
got to
to
spread.
come.
Yeah, now we got to spread the knowledge
Yes.
to those.
Yes.
And I've said this to everybody in this room off the podcast. Like the biggest thing I'm having like accepting is that I get people who inbox me that they're experiencing synchronicities, but then they don't ever show it. They don't ever post it. And
Post
it's like,
it.
why are
Right.
you afraid to
Right.
like just
Right.
screenshot 1111? Like,
right.
huh?
They're still getting familiar.
That's what you think? But like,
I couldn't always deliver the message properly until I learned I became confident.
That
okay.
is true. That is true. I can see that.
But I just like,
You can't start
What's
saying
that?
stuff if you don't
I'm the one
understand
holding
yourself.
back.
Started posting every
That's
time I
right.
get it.
You-
hold on, the CEO is speaking.
Hold on.
He couldn't resist himself.
Hey.
But it's also the same as like when you ever get stopped by a Jehovah's Witness on the street. They don't know the actual word. They kind of like stuttering. They're not supposed to be out there. You need to teach the word a little more to get them
Oh.
to be able to.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm picking up
Yes.
what you're putting down.
That's right.
And that's why
Right,
we're trying.
right.
That's why we're
right.
trying to explain what synchronicity is,
Right,
and
right.
that's
You
the
know,
mission of this
it's-
the
podcast.
basics.
It's
yeah.
just baby steps, you
Right.
know, and I'm gonna switch the camera around on me, y'all, so y'all can at least see Yona for a second.
They have books on this
You
stuff.
know, it's
Yeah, we gotta
it's
get
for
into that.
anybody. This would be my way to explain anybody starting out on their path and their journey. If just like the littlest minute things start to like jump out to you and you start to like notice things, and if
Question.
you don't let it just flush out of your mind,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But then
Yeah.
you like take them and they're like, damn, I'm seeing this, okay, and then this together, you're like, oh.
That's like earlier with
So
the, with the
that's a
numbers
good
we were
kind
seeing.
of a clue, you know, like you just got a little tickle by the universe saying, come here.
Wait a minute. Look
Yeah.
at
Come here.
Playtime's
You know?
over with.
Right.
It's time to
So-
get to work.
Yep.
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 For
So-
sure.
Hold on, so we can't forget about JC. She's got a lot of built up energy. I can feel it coming from that side of the table. She was telling us some stuff before we came inside. So I'm just gonna let you talk. I'm gonna stop talking. I've been doing radio and all this stuff for 20 years. I'm tired of talking. Y'all talk.
I'll take over for you. No, I'm kidding.
No, you next. I know you ready. But let JC speak her truth and her piece.
Basically, I had a dream one night. I had my favorite aunt that I lost at 18, and it was way too soon. I wasn't ready to let her go. And when I had my babies, I wanted to have her a part of that, and I obviously couldn't have her there. One night, I literally woke up out of a dead sleep, but I wasn't awake. I was awake, but I was sleeping. And my aunt was there. We had a full-on conversation. She was talking to me about my kids, held my children. We had everything. She gave me her blessing, told me how beautiful they were. It was just everything that meant everything to me. So when I woke up, it was weird that I woke up because it didn't feel like it was a dream. I knew it wasn't a dream. It's so confusing, but I know she was there. I felt her.
So
She hugged me. I felt it. She held my kids. She was there. So there was just no way around it. Another time that was pretty amazing. I lost my cousin in 9/11, who was a firefighter. He was my favorite cousin, and I was never told that he died. And I found out, unfortunately, of course, on Facebook, how things finally find you somehow. That my cousin died, and his funeral was a week past, so I was not a part of it. I was very broken by it. I wanted to be there. He meant the world to me. I was visiting my hometown, and I was at a fair with my kids at a very young age. And this lady came to me out of nowhere, grabbed me, and said that she has something to tell me from my very close cousin. Actually said his name, and flat out said that he's with me, he's watching me, he sees me, doesn't hold anything against that I wasn't at his funeral. He understands all, he appreciates everything, and he will always be one of my guardian angels. Another amazing minute because it was literally one of the tarot ladies that was at the fair, and I didn't go to her, so she came to me.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me.
Her chime just went off.
No.
Yeah.
My bad.
No,
No.
that wasn't me.
Obviously, my cousin's here. Hey, cousin.
See?
Well, he fought 9/11, so he at least fought for us.
Mm.
He did what he had to do, so he at least died for a good reason, a good cause, and I know he's watching over me, and that just meant the world to me because people look for these things, and this lady came to me, and that was meant to be told. So it meant everything, especially being that how I found everything out. So I think Jennifer's ready to take
Yeah, you
Yeah.
literally just set her up perfectly from
How you take that now?
just
I
like
would
that
gladly take
that
that.
tarot card that tarot reader you met at the fair. Now we have one right in the flesh, right in Fort Myers, and I don't even want to tell them about the synchronicity with you and Mr. Icy Benjamin back there. That's for another podcast, but everything has just been coming into sync lately. That's all I can say. So
Well, thank you, Mr. J. Yes, I am Jennifer, aka Enchanted Raven. I have been doing this for 20 years. Not tarot reading, but I've been reading energy. I've been picking up. I'm an empath. And actually, that was the first thing that I picked up on because I'm sitting there and I'm passing everybody. I'm going, oh my God, like, wait, what the hell am I feeling? Like, I can't be around you, or you're cool. Like, I want to be around you, it was just that experience. And I'm going, wait a minute, something's going on. And when I was, I want to say 18, I started seeing that synchronicity, and I started making like the 11:11 wish all the time. You set your alarm. You're like, oh, it's 11:11. I got to make that wish, and that's kind of like. And then I started seeing 222, and I'm going, wait a minute, there's something to this. And then I started looking it up, and I'm going, whoa, okay, because when that happened, this happened, and then when I saw this number and I heard this, this is starting to happen, and I was a lot like y'all, where it was like I was kind of shy about it. I didn't want to talk about it. I just kind of the 11:11 wish was normal. For some reason, the 11:11 wish everybody knew about. So I was like, oh, it's 11:11, make that wish, And
I was that girl.
it okay.
I made everybody make a wish. I'm like, it's 11:11.
Or you
Gotta
turn
make
your
it-
necklace and
Right,
like, yep,
when it
that,
gets to the
yep,
thing.
yep. Okay, so
I'm
now,
gonna start making a wish at 11:11.
I mean, listen, it happens because that's
We're
when
not doing
they're
The
telling
portal's
you,
open.
The portal's
No, I'm
open.
saying
Keep
it.
your positive thoughts because the universe is actually giving you a snapshot of your life right then and there. So whatever you want to manifest, the number one is the manifesting number. So whatever you want to manifest at that moment, make a wish because that's what your heart is your heart's desire. So that's the perfect time to make it because it's all fours. 4 is the magic number. Man, I could go into this like I could.
Hold on, there's one thing I want to throw in for because like I said, this is the beginner's version of Spiritual Awakening 239. We're going to get into the deeper version in about 10, 15 more minutes, but we're going to bring in the OG himself. Mark's in the building.
Mark's in the building.
My question is, do you remember the first numbers you seen was 11:11?
Right.
Okay, I want to say something because Roxanne actually pointed this out. There is a book for those who are watching this right now, and I
Yes.
believe it's
Yes.
by Doreen Virtue,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So for those who are watching this right now, if you want to know exactly what
Yes.
every single synchronicity, and synchronicity is repeating numbers, 111, 222, 333, 999, aka angel numbers. That's what
Right,
they're often
right.
referred to as well.
Right.
There's an entire book if you're searching. For me, I found that out later, but I just went on YouTube and Google,
Yep, true.
and I
True.
just found out what was resonating with me. That's the best way I learned. I'm like,
And-
okay, this makes sense to what I'm going through right
and a
now.
lot of people they start off with Doreen Virtue. Like I'm pretty sure that's a very common name. And for me, I started off with her as well.
Yeah.
I started off. I think it's Angel Numbers 101, right?
For what?
For the
book?
The book, Angel Numbers.
I'm not sure. I looked into numerology.
Okay.
I didn't look into angel.
Okay.
There's so many books on everything.
Everything. Oh my
whatever
God.
interests
Oh my God.
these
And
people, they should definitely
as-
look up some different.
yes,
Yeah.
and as beginners, I have to tell you that it is overwhelming at first. Like you just want to absorb everything because everything's so cool, and you're just like, I want to learn this. I want to learn this. Take your time. Pick one subject. Learn about it. Absorb it because you will, coming from experience, you will overwhelm yourself. So
Yeah, it's too many
See,
downloads
yeah.
at one time. It's
Yeah.
like it's
The information will repeat itself.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
it's
right.
too much. Like what I experienced is too many downloads.
Right.
It's like you get hit with 111, and an hour later it's 222, and then
Yup.
you'll have them days where literally it's like non-stop, and you're all fucked up in the head. You're like, that's way too much for me to
Right,
try to process right now. I'm still
Right.
trying to figure out what 111 means. Now it's like I'm getting hit with 222. So
I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. Don't make me go down that
yeah,
rabbit hole. Yeah.
it's crazy though. I see them like. I'll be at the weirdest. I mean, just when we were standing out here getting ready for this podcast,
Okay.
the sign outside says 444. It's like, I mean, it can't get more realer than that. I mean, it doesn't. Even when me and Fame are out, it happens to us. We're in
Right.
Miami for Memorial
Right.
Day weekend, and it was. I mean, it's
It was
just so
happening the whole
powerful.
time, too.
Yeah, I mean, for people.
bet.
Now, one thing I do want to go into, since synchronicity is the general consensus of kind of like the first experience on the spiritual journey, so to speak. Is that a consensus thing here? Is that the first thing you guys all experienced, like on the spin, or did you experience something different first?
I experienced something totally different.
I mean, same. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
what'd you experience?
So,
Like,
I mean, you know, like I said before, I grew up in the church, you know, and, but even before I don't want to make the connection of the church and what happened with my spiritual journey. It happened before I even gripped the church and wanted to be like my grandfather. I knew that there was something about
More.
prayer and
Yeah.
healing. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
being able to like lay hands on
Right.
people when I was my son's age, you know, at 5 years old, and just like knowing that I could like heal. Like, for example, I have a sibling that had like a hernia or something, you know, and they were about to take him to the hospital. His hernia was like poking out of his belly, like for real. And I said, I could fix it. I don't remember this. I was like 5 or 6. I said, I could fix it. And I put my hands, I said, in the name of Jesus, you know? And they were like, what? And then his hernia went back into his belly, like totally like chilled him out and made him like at least stable
Right,
to
right.
like get to, I mean, ultimately he had to
Right.
have the surgery, but I knew that there was something
That's-
special about being able to connect to people,
Right.
and not having that connection being based on if you go into that church,
Right.
Yes.
Right.
mass,
Right.
synagogue,
Yes.
mosque. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? You could get
It's
that.
anywhere.
You could get that connection anywhere. And then it was like probably when I was 11 and 12 years old when I started to notice synchronicities is when I started to have questions about
Right.
being in the church. And wait a minute,
Right.
hold on.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Same.
really
Right.
paying attention, you know, and it wasn't until, you know, my early teens that I realized, you know, my Hebrew heritage, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
and then that was a whole different can of worms on another show, tune in.
Right.
yeah, for sure.
Right.
You know, so yeah, for me it was definitely, you know, the synchronicities just like let me know that wherever path I was on was the right one. It felt good, it felt safe.
And that's the key.
Yeah, I
that's
think
when I
that's the
just-
general,
yeah,
the general
yeah,
consensus
yeah.
when it happens.
Right.
Let me ask y'all something. When y'all experienced the synchronicities for the first time, did it happen on your own, or did someone else trigger you to it?
For me it happened, I saw it on my own. I mean,
It happened on your own? Happened
yeah.
on your own?
I
Fame?
mean, it did, but it didn't because Chris really was trying to teach me. But I think that a lot of people are probably undercover with this in the industry too, because he wasn't very open about his spirituality. I mean, he was, you know, but what he was studying and doing the chakras and doing the meditating and doing I think a lot of artists out there probably use it to help them grow and expand their energy. And like you guys were seeing earlier, you know, like I think it's
So he triggered you to it. You would
because
say.
they seen it, like we were discussing earlier. He's seen something that I needed to bring out of me, you know,
Right.
which was
Yeah.
the energy. And as you seen for yourself, the bigger the shows I was doing, it was, you know, it was different energy, like going
Right.
from one thing to the next, and then expanding the energy with the larger crowd. And
so how did you, let me ask you a question. How did you best like deal with such a shift in different energies, man, and going to different venues, you know? I mean, for me, I become like a homebody because like sometimes being around so many different injuries can be like,
I mean,
whew,
sometimes
you know, yeah, it can be overwhelming.
sometimes
so,
I have to walk away, but that's why I like, you know, it just depends on the area I'm in or where I'm
Right.
at. But I can always
Right.
feel people's
Right.
energy and that's kind of how I make my moves. Like if I'm gonna do a show, if I'm gonna do this, if I'm gonna mess with a person, I can automatically feel the energy. Like,
Let me ask you this: has being in the music industry, have you noticed that there's a big movement
Oh, that's a good question.
in the
Yeah.
music industry
Yeah.
spiritually? Are these cats just just in the
I
world?
think so.
Or are
think
they
I
woke?
think so.
You know,
I'm
are
gonna
they-
jump
are
in.
people
Me
waking
and Icy
up,
Had
or-
this we
Yeah,
had this
yeah.
conversation the other
You know,
night.
if you gotta think, like Chris been in the game a long time, and he was trying to wake me up, and so was
Right.
his girl being a seer, and all that energy put together. Because originally she told me I've always been on his path, but then we basically bumped into each other. Basically, like it was meant to be. Everything that happened was
For sure.
fate.
Divine
that's
timing,
what's
man.
up. That's
Divine.
right,
I
that's
think
right.
there is a couple artists. I'm glad. I don't want to touch on this convo too much, but like, I was literally on the way here. We were just listening to the new Chris Brown album,
Yes.
and I don't know if you peep Chris Brown. He's probably yeah. He want to get in on this right now. I just triggered him right now. I didn't even know it.
Spiritual awakening
But
right
like,
over here.
Chris, like if you listen to the new Chris Brown, the first song out the gate, he's all off rip like Third Eye. He's like straight talking about Third Eye, waking up his chakras, and like the whole, even the name of the album is called Indigo. So like
Wow.
he's already like on the Star Seed, Indigo Kid, like he's
So,
already.
Do you see the importance of what you're doing right now? You are the shift in that musical industry. So that's the reason why your energy is so powerful. That's the reason why that beam. You have a lot. You are destined for very high things right now. So not that it's laying on your shoulders, but you're part of that movement. So keep going. That's what Chris wanted for you, and that's why he's here. That's why he orchestrated all of this. That's why he was a part of it. He got together all of our spirit guides and sat this down so that we can make that. Because what were we just talking about the other night? Is that what you were going to say before I rudely interrupted?
No. I want you never answered the question about the first time you noticed synchronicities. Was that your first
Oh.
spiritual awakening experience or no?
Yeah, because you said you didn't. The
no.
synchronicities wasn't yours.
No, it was actually the empath part of me. And what an empath is empathy. You know,
Yeah.
you feel the vibes
That's
of
one
other
of my
people.
weaknesses, man.
So,
I'm a light worker,
listen,
so
let me tell
empathy
you,
is not
yeah.
my strong suit.
It overwhelms you, and you actually really do absorb the emotions of other people. And not only that, you absorb what they're not telling you. So going around and hearing, that was not my chime. But that was a bell. But so going around being in high school, it was like I felt what all of these teenagers were feeling, but they weren't saying, they weren't portraying it. They were all happy on the outside because they didn't know how to voice that. So here I am, a basket case in high school, like a cheerleader and in drama. So I took on all of these different personas, and that's really what triggered me on the 11/11 on Making a Wish. For some reason, every time I'd see 11/11 and I'd feel a little bit better, and I'd try to calm down. And so that's ultimately my empath led into the synchronicities, which led into everything else. So
Okay. Mine was completely different than everybody in this room, I'm sure. I didn't notice it myself. I had to come cross paths with my spiritual, I get the labels right. I don't want to say twin flame because I don't know if that's 100% accurate yet, but I'll just say I came across the
well, okay, that's a different side. You know me on that one.
I came across my spiritual mate's higher self triggered me. I didn't know what the fuck it was. Like I triggered her. What I did was I did a numerology test on her. For everybody, most people know about the numerology test by now. It's online. It's just a little quick. I came across that like a year ago. Someone sent it to me on Facebook. Everybody knows the artist Tyrese, the R&B artist Tyrese. He
Yep.
was pushing it big time.
Yep.
And I did it. We just did it for shits and giggles on the radio, and it's like 99.8% accurate. So anyway, just to get to know this woman, it was just an icebreaker, like on a date. So I was like, let's do a numer. She was anti-numerology. She was a Bible thumper. She's like, that's some magical bullshit, man. You let evil spirits into your life. And I'm like, look, just do this shit. I'm like, if it's whatever, you could change that anytime. You're not obligated. So anyway, long story short, the day after she did it, and by the way, like we had like an MK Ultra mind mind control moment when she did the numerology thing, because like she froze up for like 5 minutes. It was the funniest shit ever. But like she literally just
Like, oh,
froze
shit.
because I triggered her to her bullshit, like you said about reading up on people's lives, like because she told me one thing and then the numerology test told her another thing, which
Cannot lie
triggered.
to an empath.
Yeah,
I'm
so
telling you right
exactly.
now.
So like then the shit was
Resting
real.
bitch face comes from an empath.
Right.
Seriously.
So it's funny because so that went on. So the next day she ended up texting me and she's like, "Oh, by the way, we met at 9/11 yesterday and we left at 11/11." And I'm like, "What the fuck does that mean? Like, what are you trying to tell me? I don't." So what? I see 9/11 and 11/11. Like, what are you trying to tell me
Right,
consciously? Like,
right.
I don't get what you're telling. She screenshot and she texted me, and that's what triggered me to the
Yup.
synchronicity. It wasn't me just randomly one day looking at a clock and being like, "Hey, it's 9/11. What the fuck?" But like,
Right.
so then I went down the rabbit hole, and I've been down the rabbit hole ever since. So,
Welcome.
yes,
my friend.
I'm here.
Welcome.
I'll have my 1 year anniversary, and that was on September 22nd of last year, which is 9/22/2018. If you add that up and break it down, it comes down to the number 7. Once again, so
Boom. I'll do it. Dang.
yeah. So I want to bring in the OG spiritual guide now. He really don't need no introduction for those who know us. I want to bring in Mr. Mark on the end because he's been on the journey. He's been on this journey, the spiritual awakening journey, for 40 years, almost as long as I've been on this earth. I know longer than Colin's been on this earth. And I'm sure he's got some stories to tell us that's going to blow our minds. So you want to talk about, while Mark gets situated, about numerology, how synchronicities and angel numbers and everything's kind of tied together. Because people don't understand what numerology is. People, like I said, this girl who triggered me to it, ironically, she was against it, but then triggered me to it, which was like,
Right.
it kind of fucked up my mind space. I'm like, how can you say like one day you're against numerology?
That's how it happens. I mean, that's how
And
it's
then,
like because listen, I grew up in a my mom was a single Catholic mom. There was, and I went through communion, I went through baptism, I went through all of that stuff, and I even knew there was something out there, but I had to, my mom was, this is how it was. Until I started questioning everything, a bit, and I don't know too much about numerology, so chime in whenever you do. I just know, like, the numbers, the angel numbers, the sequences behind it and stuff. And I just started adding it up and started going, wait a minute, this kind of, so I'm going to let you explain the numerology, because I don't know all of that. Like astrology, I know my sign, I know your sign, I know like the gist of it, but
Well,
getting that.
before Roxanne can join, just real quick for those who tune in that don't know, the thought of numerology is like numerology is the original communications of human beings. Before there was spoken language and sounds and grunts, writing shit on the wall. Like that's and it was before any religion, man-made religion. It was basically like ancient Egypt knowledge. Is that the first people on earth communicated through numbers, not versus Spanish, English, Creole, whatever, Chinese, all that other shit is that we communicated with numbers. So that's just the basic premise of ancient Tibet and Egypt. But I don't know. I'm gonna pass it over to the man who's been on the spiritual journey for the longest. I know he's got some insight and knowledge he'd like to share with us. Welcome to the first ever 239 Spiritual Awakening podcast. Yeah.
Yes.
I know he's excited. We got Paradise Wellness Center in the building, man. How you doing, Mark?
I'm good. Thank you so much for inviting me here. It's really an honor and a privilege to be able to be with you all.
Thank you. So I know you got a lot of knowledge, man. I enjoy hanging out with people that's of age, maybe not of, and spiritual age older than me, because I think it's very important, especially for young people that might come across this video.
Right.
Don't disrespect the older people.
Right,
Don't,
right,
because you can learn a lot. I think that's a bigger problem with this generation now,
sure.
is that people kind of dismiss people who've already been down a journey, and they don't understand the importance of having a mentor, someone who could be there for them, who might not have a parent in their life, but
Right.
someone who can kind of coach them. So that's why it's only destined that I came across this brother, man. Like when I first met him, you could already feel his
Same.
energy in the building already, man. So
Same.
what's on your mind, brother?
Well, what are we going to talk about? I mean, you guys have been talking about so many amazing things, and synchronicity to me is one aspect of like a big model of reality. It's like a whole other model of reality. Like at a minimum, you know, like we're the dweller on the threshold between two parallel worlds. We have this lower world of third dimension and, you know, lower emotions and violence and everything and tyranny and just all the stuff that goes on down in this part of the world. But then we also simultaneously have this other world of like synchronicity and like love and peace and joy and exhilaration, exuberance, compassion and understanding and empathy and all these things. So it dawned on me a number of years ago, just in general, that what if in fact we were the dweller on the threshold between these two parallel worlds?
I think we are. I think we go back and forth from the third, fourth, fifth
Right,
dimension. It's kind of hard not to a certain degree. Like, but my belief is sooner or later the timelines are gonna cross. I think we're in the process of the timelines crossing now.
For sure, that's exactly what's happening. The veil is definitely lifting.
Yeah.
It lifted a while ago, but it's here now.
It's really thinning out. So based on that, you know, a number of years ago, you know, I had my awakening experiences, and I've healed myself of chronic illnesses without going to the doctor, and I've been practicing meditation and all that stuff for like 40 years. So it dawned on me a little while ago. It's like, okay, so you know what a walk-in is?
No, a walk-in.
A walk-in
Like
is
a spiritual being. Like, say if I have a soulmate,
Oh, yeah,
and the
yeah.
soulmate is not. I'm not receiving why God put the soulmate in my life. Then another soulmate will walk in that person's spirit's place, or is that a different type of walk-in?
It's a different type.
Because I've heard that before.
It's more like sometimes some people have experiences where they go through a major transformational awakening, and then what happens is it's almost as if there's another being living inside of them, which isn't actually another being, like they're not being possessed or anything, but what it is it's like their higher self, their God self, whatever we want to call it,
Their inner
has
being.
like completely integrated and downloaded into their body. And so from that perspective, their old self, in a sense, doesn't exist, but their new self does. So it almost seems like a new... I had that experience a while ago, and one of the things that came to me in relation to that experience was, okay, so I've never been here before. Let's just imagine you've never been here before.
Right.
So here, you land on planet Earth, and you're in this third dimension, and it's like, holy shit, I am so fucked right now.
Who the hell are
Because
these people?
Fucking humanoids, man.
yeah, looking around going, how do I do this? How do I? So then it was like, okay, we need to set to work on how do I create or connect with some operating system or series of operating systems that my body and my brain and my heart contain, because those are the three main operating systems.
right.
Heart, brain, and body.
Right.
So how can I tune in or tap into those operating systems and use them more effectively in order to maintain some peace, in order to have health, happiness, and fulfillment, you know, in my life?
Because that's ultimately where we're going right now. That's the shift that's happening right now.
I just kind of explained that how I got triggered into the spiritual awakening too. Like my spiritual partner, whatever you want to label her as, her higher self stepped in and triggered me to it
Right.
without her even knowing it at the same time.
Right.
Same person.
Right.
Like, so she probably didn't even reckon. Either that, she's lying to me, but I don't think she's lying to me. I think it
Can't
really,
lie to an empath.
yeah. So, but
Yeah,
I,
so all these things are like interconnected. So it's like this incredible tapestry of all these other competencies, ways of thinking, ways of being, realities, interdimensional stuff. All of it's real, and it fits together in this creative tapestry that I kind of call the New World.
Right.
You know, Christians
Age,
call
new
it,
energy.
whatever, the kingdom of heaven.
Right.
Back in the Bible, you know, when Moses was taking the Hebrew people, they called it the promised land. So this is an experience.
Right.
Because ultimately, if you ask people what's God, most people don't really know what
Right.
that is.
Right.
Or we have the concept, we got a guy with the beard, you know, whatever it is.
But we can all agree that it's a feeling, right?
It's a what?
It's a feeling, right?
A feeling.
It's a feeling.
Yes.
We can all agree. An energy.
A lot of
Exactly.
people, when I ask people like, what is God to you? They always say, well, He and Jesus is God. Like
They don't.
They identify with Him as a man
Mhm.
and as a human. Almost,
Yeah.
you know.
So
Yeah.
in-
So
yeah.
so
Try to
it's
send them as an energy.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
source energy. That's
it's
what we call
It's a
it.
perspective. It's
Right.
you know, for me, like God, like what Raven said, it's a feeling. I
Mm-hmm.
would like to say that it's a frequency.
Yes.
And the frequency,
Yes.
in a sense, produces chemistry in our brain that then produces emotions, because emotions are chemical mixtures
Correct.
from the
See,
hypothalamus.
here
So
we go, science people. Come on.
yeah, you gotta know your science. Yeah.
Preach.
So what if it's a frequency? And so, like anything, like I don't know if you're familiar with the work of Nikola Tesla, the great electrician,
Yes.
right? Okay. He said, if you want-
369.
if you want to know about awakening and enlightenment, he said what you want to focus on is three things: energy, frequency, and vibration.
Right.
So then everything in the universe is made out of energy, frequency, and every energy has a frequency and a vibration. So when I was talking about before, like we land here on the earth, it's a lower vibration. It's a lower frequency. And it's expressed.
By design, by the powers to be, to keep people in a lower vibration.
Exactly.
That's a whole other conversation.
That's what I
It's a
said.
whole
We
other
try,
podcast.
by the elitists, but
Stay
that's
tuned, stay
we
tuned.
try and
Well,
keep
let's
it on
keep it-
synchronicity and angel
Let's
numbers.
keep it on
and,
a solution.
yeah.
So in other words, we're talking about ways to transcend that stuff. We're talking about ways to create, to emancipate our minds from mental slavery and to be able to connect our hearts with our brains. And once the heart and the brain is connected together physiologically and biologically, it switches on this vibrational feeling
Right.
in our body. So if everything's energy, vibration, and frequency, energy does two things. It either expands or what? Contracts, right. So in our lives, day to day, I like to call myself a mystic. And what mystics are, we are beings who don't just believe in God, we just don't know and understand God or religion or even spirituality, but mystics, they want to have the fucking experience of it.
Yeah.
We want to have the vibration in our body. We want to look into the
That
third
God
eye and have
frequency.
the light come through and blow our head off and off the crown chakra and live in this transcendent world
It's-
of
you
the
know what?
mighty I am presence that's expressing itself like through
It's
everything
funny. It's
simultaneously.
funny you said that because that is exactly true. Because the first time in my life I ever meditated is when I experienced the Kundalini awakening, and I was listening to 963 hertz frequency music, which at that time I thought was the highest frequency of music tone you can listen to, and that was before I met Michael with the body frequency tuning table, which when I got on that is
Right.
where I experienced what my spiritual gift was clairvoyance. So I'm with you 1,000% on that. I know all about. We were just reading his aura and frequency before we came in here today.
That's right. Yep.
So,
Right.
Yep.
So if
I thought
energy,
that was
if
crazy.
energy does,
See, there you go. Now you know what you can use. Now you have a
well, what color is his aura? Blue.
It's blue, and it's funny because
So you're on the same frequency. We're like for those who don't know, like blue is around 141 hertz. The average human's frequency is like between 72 and 86.
Right.
So we're vibing twice as much as someone who's sleeping right now.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying you have the ability to use that in what you do. So that's why you're blue. That's why your energy is blue, and you
great.
could project it out.
He was saying he could see it too, and that's like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
My daughter.
You know, just real quick, because I can't help myself. On the topic of
We're gonna read Icy's aura, man. We're telling where he vibrating at.
of auras, I mean, you know, everybody has the same color auras. This is how I perceive it, okay? Everybody has the same colors, it's just different widths and bands
Right.
to it and
And
how
it changes.
thick it is. And, you know, if you kind of like see through it, or if it's like a solid color, or if it's like foggish, you know what I mean? It's, you know, so
Well, that-
auras are a trip, man, but yeah, to beat your aura was an experience, you know, both ways for me, man. It was a trip. So
well, it kind of gets into the question that begs to be asked is like, so where does this aura stem from? You know what I mean? Like, why do we have one?
Right.
And Einstein, who wasn't necessarily a mystic, but we all know who Einstein was. He said, "You are energy.
Right.
You
We are
light."
energy.
Yeah.
So if we are light, it means that light is emanating from us, in and around and through us. And so the generalized aura, kind of to piggyback on what Yona was saying, is like a field of crystal white light. Based on our emotions and our interaction with that, and also some of our soul colors, because we come from different places, different planets, we have different dharma, different path, different
Right.
purpose. And all of that is vibrationally connected with colors, just like the 12 signs of the zodiac, or in numerology, the first 12 numbers. They're all associated with vibrations, with colors, frequencies, days of the week, months of the year, etc., etc. So everything is categorized into 12 major vibrational frequencies throughout the entire universe. So they exist within inside of us. Some people might have a blue aura more than not in general, because that's the beam of light that you came on. Because that blue light, which is communication, which is throat chakra,
Right.
which is letting the love out, you know,
See?
that's your beam, that's your light.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, mine's more lavender, because I'm more into transformation, which is the seventh ray. And everybody's energy, and energy is different. So if Einstein said you are light, that means that we have this energy, we have these vibrations, but we are vulnerable to the external world. So sometimes our energy, like I said, contracts and sometimes it expands.
Right.
So the question for me is, and also because I do spiritual classes and I also do spiritual coaching and stuff, is how do I help people, or what are some tools that we can give people when we start to feel contracting, which that means the energy is starting to cave in on us. How can we expand that energy back to connect with that field, to be able to plug back into that field? And ultimately, the goal, of course, is to live in that field or that frequency or that feeling as much of the day as possible. But the yogis teach us, because I'm a yoga teacher, the yogis teach us, shit's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much. The rest of
It's not a question of if,
Yeah.
when.
Right.
right?
Right.
Yeah, it's a question of when something
So I
occurs.
think that tool is.
By the way, this is the advanced synchronicity spiritual awakening part of the portion, folks, because I know it might be over some folks' heads right now, but just ride with the flow in the ebb right now,
Learning
people.
something, people.
That's right.
Um,
That's what we're here for. We're here to inform, educate, and empower. So that's our purpose.
Right. So the tool can be anywhere.
And
from
raise the frequency of the
That's
earth and the
right.
vibrations of the earth.
That's right. So
By the way, and raising it within us.
Right.
Exactly.
That's starts
what I was
within
just
us.
about-
Go,
Exactly.
you
because
go.
it does start within us. The light starts within us. So the best way that I can describe it is picture yourself as a light bulb. It's always very bright right where the light bulb is, but the light expands and it gets softer and softer as it expands, but it's always so you want to turn your light bulb on and you want to turn your light bulb off. At the times that you want to turn the light bulb on, that's where you need to be affecting people. If you want to turn it off, then that means, like I'm kind of like a dim right now. Like I'm not at my full brightest. Like I'm not shining,
You
but
mean right
I'm-
this second or at this period in your life?
right this second.
Okay.
So if I wanted to turn it on bright, then I think everybody would leave the room. But
Yeah.
So you know how to regulate your field.
right,
Basically.
But that's my tool. That's how I use my tool. So I think a tool is could.
So what is that tool? Share with us then. How do you regulate the energy to expand it or contract it?
I use the light bulb.
Okay, that model in your mind.
Exactly.
Okay.
So like.
Well,
things-
for me, you mean raise and lower your frequency?
Yeah.
For me, I mean it's a chart. I mean I've come across there's multiple charts that you can find online how to raise and how humans lower their frequency. Simply, meditation is one to raise your frequency by eating properly. The more your body becomes alkaline by drinking water.
Right.
The foods that you eat, not eating processed food, by staying in the music that we listen to. If you got to listen to high vibrational music, if you're listening to low vibrational music, you're going to stay in that frequency.
And also
So, I
people
mean,
you
that's a
surround
lot.
yourself with,
Beautiful.
too.
That is
Plus
a lot.
oils. From what I understand, rose is the most powerful oil. That's the highest you can raise the frequency of a human body to like 300 hertz. I haven't been able to find any oil, but I mean rose.
Rose
if you get,
oil. Yeah, you get it.
So I'm at 141 right now. I want to get to 300. So eventually I'll get there. But I'm happy at 141. But my daughter has a higher frequency than me, which kind of
She's
tripped
got
me
some
out.
energy.
Yeah, her aura is like orange. But we're not talking about auras and frequency. Matter of fact, we got to wrap it up, unfortunately, man. I'm looking at the clock. We got like a minute and a half. So it's just the first one. We just getting the ball rolling. It's the first ever 239 Spiritual Awakening podcast. Hopefully we didn't go too deep. Hopefully we helped some people out
Can I
who
make
came
a quick
from.
announcement?
Yeah, of course.
next workshop?
Yeah.
Or no?
Go ahead and do it now, and then we're just gonna let everybody say their final goodbyes and,
Okay.
and what you want to close out on.
So we have a great workshop that we do at Paradise Wellness and Event Center in Bonita Springs, and it's on the autumnal equinox, which is September 21st, and it's called Soothe Your Soul Saturday, where it's an 8-hour workshop. There's music, there's dance, there's meditation, there's transformational activations, and go to the website www.sootheyoursoulsaturday.com, and you can find out more information about that. And my name's Mark, so thanks a lot.
Is it next Saturday
No,
or
it's in September 21st, which is the autumn equinox.
okay?
Like we just had the summer solstice, now we're going the autumn equinox.
right.
Those are the 4 high Sabbaths of the year. So from a celestial standpoint, those 4 times, December 21st, June 21st, September 21st, and March 21st, are the times when the celestial beings of light channel tons of energy into the
Right.
planet to
Right.
help with this great
Think about that,
awakening.
That's the date of the show that we were supposed to.
Hey,
Not even-
synchronicity.
There you go.
He has an event on that same day. So go ahead. That's a hold on. That's
Right,
a perfect
right,
segue
right.
into Fame, who has an event on that. But his event's after yours, so no competition, no hate here, all
Yeah,
love.
It's an outdoor like hip hop show with a bunch of artists, but it's crazy that you say that because me and him already talked about like getting together and doing something, and it's like That's
There you
the
go,
sync
see?
right.
So it's
that's
on
There you
September
go. There you go.
21st.
Yeah.
In the night, in the evening.
In the evening.
Far out. Love it.
So it's like yours is in the day and it's
Yours
like
at
all
night.
in sync.
Perfect.
See?
Everything came.
That's confirmation that you need to do that. Whatever you guys were thinking, you need to do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, for sure.
And if you need help organizing your mindset around that, come talk to me. We'll work you. We'll clear you
Thank
right
you.
up.
Thank you.
There you go.
Totally.
Yona, say your final words, brother. First ever, first one.
First one.
Podcast. We've been waiting forever.
To be a part of it. Jay and I have been, talking about this for a long time. To actually see it come to fruition is powerful. I'm not going to give too much away, but the rabbit hole goes deeper.
Officially gone down
Yeah.
the rabbit hole.
Hey, we just touching the surface right now.
Yes.
It goes
There's
deep.
gonna be a lot of fantastic
Topics. Yes.
a lot of fantastic speakers.
Yeah.
I'm sure Mark's going to come back. I may come back.
You know I'll be here.
You may come back, mother. I ain't gonna curse because your son's
no,
right
no,
there.
No, right.
No, you are coming back.
It's going to be really awakening, and just want to touch as many as possible. Thanks for tuning in, y'all.
Excellent. Yes, thanks for
JC.
Thank you for having me as always. Always a pleasure to be invited.
We gotta bring you back because you have some awesome stories, like
Thank you.
real testimonial stories. I don't have as many as all y'all because I'm the baby of the Soul Tribe, so to speak. So,
We got you. Don't
but I
worry.
talk the
We got
most
you.
and I've experienced the least, so it is what it is. All right, Fame, talk to us. Any? I know you got your event. Anything you want to close out with?
I mean, I appreciate you guys having me here, and as anybody listening, as a person sitting here myself, experiencing these things, and even being here today, I've awakened more and seen more, and so anybody listening to this, I hope you research everything that's been said today, and I definitely feel the vibe in the room, and I appreciate anybody who's tuning in and trying to learn to awaken themselves. So
Is
Far
there
out.
a way that they
That's-
can maybe contact, like if somebody's like unsure about opening up, can they contact you? Can they like?
I mean, yeah, you could hit me up on any social media at Fame Fayella. I mean,
go.
this is everything I'm saying here is the truth.
Oh, he's
and
Italian too. I forgot to tell you that.
Hey! Yes, yes.
Jay's half Italian.
There you go. We got the
Yeah.
Sicilian. What are you?
have
Is
to-
there any other?
I need to get that
Generic
far.
type.
Said I eat spaghetti. I eat
I need to
spaghetti.
get
That's
that
it.
far, and-
Is that a racist comment? Never mind. Don't.
Actually Chinese.
What?
Very true. Very true.
Another Italian in the building.
Yes. Okay.
Hold on. Spaghetti is Chinese food?
Yep.
Damn.
Pizza's
Learned something
Spanish.
else new today.
Pizza is Spanish. Pizza started in Spain, so there you go. We
All
have
right, Jennifer,
taken all of it.
close out.
All right, this is Enchanted Raven. You can reach me at Instagram at gypsy_healer48. I'm so honored to be part of this, and I hope y'all learned something and reach out. Please reach out. Get the word out. We're all
Now,
here for you.
you do personal tarot card readings and all that, so tell
I do.
people your IG, your Facebook, how they can get in touch if they want to get a personal tarot card reading.
So on Facebook, I'm Enchanted Raven. I just gave you my IG, which is at gypsy_healer48. You can contact me through my email, which is maddox47@yahoo. If y'all need it, I do chakra healing, I do house blessings, I do Reiki energy, and of course I do past life regressions, and I do angel readings, which I will not tell you your future. I'm not gonna be responsible for that. I will give you options. I will.
You
not
do
read-
past life stuff,
I do
though.
past life stuff.
Akashic Records?
Exactly. Yep.
I want to get into that. I want to
Okay.
know who I was. Maybe I was like, maybe I was like a porn star in my first favorite life. I probably wasn't.
Not,
Yeah.
not maybe.
Not, maybe I would know. I would have some signs right now. Probably that.
Wait a minute, what's coming up now? We gotta explore that. Wait a minute.
You know what? I want you to do something. Can you want to pull a card
All right.
on the way out and see? I don't know. What do we want to ask the universe? Anyone? Just bless this podcast, or what's next for this podcast? I'll let her do her thing. That's her thing. But while she gets that out and close, I would say, this has been a long time coming, probably at least 6 months to a year. I've been procrastinating, but God put me across Icy Benjamin's path, and the rest is history. So we here to stay, Lord willing. I'm sorry, EX3. I was about to slander his name. He's like, motherfucker, don't come back over this bitch no more. The next show, so we all know in advance, we're going to be talking about meditation, prayer, affirmations, and mantras. So it'll get a little bit deeper when we get to that. So I'm going to hand it back over. So she just pulled a card.
You cannot make this up. Please, Jay, read
Did you
it.
watch her?
Yeah, I saw her.
It's on camera. I did on camera. You can't make this up.
All right. Can you get this? I wasn't paying attention. I was hoping you was paying attention. Archangel Michael, your inner guidance is real and trustworthy. My prayer, please help me clearly hear, see, feel, and know the divine guidance that I asked and prayed for. Allow me to keep my ego out of the way so your wisdom can come streaming through me for my own benefit and for those around me.
Bam. You cannot make that up.
Right on.
So there you go.
Thank you.
Hopefully
thank
we
you.
inspired at least somebody, we educated somebody, and we empowered somebody. Don't be afraid of your spiritual journey, your experiences. We start with synchronicities. If you see repeating numbers over and over again, that is a sign from your higher power, whatever you believe in. It don't matter. It's a sign that it's time to wake up for a reason. It could be something as simple of your health, your career, your relationships, whatever you're going through in your life right now. It's a sign that it's time to get to work. That's the way I look at it. I think it's like, because right now we're going through a shift. People waking up at different times. Mark's been on the journey longer than all of us. And there's a lot of people out there searching for this information. And I think we did a good job at simplifying it to simplify as we could. And Mark took it from here to here. So
And I just want to say, it's all walks of life here. Like, there is all walks of life. So if you feel like your culture is not going to accept you, or you're going to be like, cast out or whatever, there's all walks of life.
Yeah.
I mean, from every different. So
we don't. That's one thing I love about spirituality is we
Yes.
don't see each other by skin
Yes.
color. We see each other by our auras.
Yes.
And I think people
Influence each other.
we don't play that conquer and divide separation over race, religion, and politics. So at least
Right.
I can speak
It's
on
like creating a new culture
right
of oneness.
of recognizing
Doesn't
that
matter who you are, where you're from, whatever it is, but the spirituality creates a new culture of oneness. The one thing that we have in common is like unconditional love and forgiveness.
And on that
And
note,
we get pulled together from everywhere in the world. You can go anywhere in the world and find people like us
That's
right. Yep,
because
that's
our
true.
hearts are in the same place.
Right. All right.
that's it. Till next week, folks. Thursdays.
night.
Yeah, we're gonna. This will be by the time you see it, it'll be up. So there's no sense in saying when it's gonna be up. When you see it, it's. I would take this from my tarot readers, as they always say. When you come across this video, is when the divine wanted you to come across this video. So
We'll see you soon.
time is fluid. So I'm out of here. Till next time, y'all be blessed.
Thank
Love
you.
and light.
Blessings. Good job, everybody.